For those of us who grew up in the arcades, one name just hit different: the legendary SNK. Today, we're going to take a look at their incredible story, a story of insane success, a shocking collapse, and one of the greatest comebacks in gaming history.
Man, just hearing those 4 words sends a jolt right back to the 90s, doesn't it? This wasn't just some catchy slogan. It was a promise. It promised power, it promised arcade-perfect games, and it promised a future that honestly felt like it was right there in your hands.
Oh yeah, you can still hear it, can't you? That huge, booming voice coming out of a machine tucked in the back of a convenience store. You knew, right then and there, that you were looking at something on a totally different level. That, right there, was the magic of SNK. So, to really get that magic, we've got to go back to the very beginning, when a little company called Shin Nihon Kikaku started its climb to become the absolute kings of the arcade.
So it all started right here, with a name that means New Japan Project. And get this, the founder, Eikichi Kawasaki, was a former pro boxer. I mean, come on! It's like they were destined to dominate fighting games from day one. That competitive spirit was baked right into their DNA.
But before they were the undisputed champs of the one-on-one fighter, SNK was already an arcade powerhouse. They were pumping out hits like Ikari Warriors. And remember the joystick in TANK? That loop lever that let you move one way and shoot another? That was mind-blowing stuff back then. And hey, let's not forget Athena, putting a strong female hero out front way before it was the cool thing to do. They were already building their legend.
Everything they'd done up to that point, though, it was really just a warm-up. Because in 1990, the whole gaming world was about to get turned completely upside down. And this was it, the Neo Geo. This was the holy grail for us gamers. The idea was pure genius. Arcade owners could just swap cartridges in one MVS cabinet. But the real magic? The AES brought that exact same game into your living room. No compromises, no weak, watered-down ports. It was expensive as hell, sure, but it was the dream of arcade perfection, made real. And on that incredible piece of hardware, they built an absolute empire. Just look at this lineup. These weren't just popular games, they were cultural phenomenons. Fatal Fury, Samurai Showdown, KOF, Metal Slug. Every single one was a masterpiece. This was SNK at the absolute peak of their powers.
This really says it all, doesn't it? This is how you know you've made it. They got so big, they basically turned their entire neighborhood into SNKville. The headquarters, the studios, the Neo Geo Land arcades, they were everywhere. They weren't just playing the game anymore, they owned the whole board.
But you know how these stories always go. When you're on top of the world, there's a long way to fall. And that future that SNK had promised, well, it came for them. And it came way faster than anyone was ready for.
You can just see the panic setting in here. Look at this frantic pace. In 5 short years, they pushed out 4 different systems. The Neo Geo CD, which was supposed to be cheaper but had those killer load times. The Hyper Neo Geo 64, their attempt to jump on the 3D bandwagon. And the poor Neo Geo Pocket, a brilliant handheld that they themselves made obsolete just 5 months later. It was just too much, too fast.
And see, the problem was their whole empire was built on 2D fighting games. But that boom was starting to fizzle out. The new hardware wasn't selling, and they were dumping a ton of cash into huge theme parks that just weren't bringing people in. The very thing that made them kings was now dragging them down. And the final bill for all those missteps? 38 billion yen. That's a debt so massive, it's hard to even wrap your head around. The dream wasn't just over, it was completely shattered. And for a lot of us, this news just hit at a weird time. We were getting older, right? Finishing up school, starting our first jobs, moving on from the arcades of our youth. And hearing that SNK, this absolute giant from our childhoods, was gone, it felt like a part of our own story was ending too. But this is SNK we're talking about. And if there's one thing their characters taught us, it's that you never stay down for the count. This story was far from over. So here's how they pulled off the comeback. Right after the bankruptcy, a company called Playmore swooped in and grabbed the most valuable assets, all those legendary characters. A couple years later, they cleverly became SNK Playmore, signaling to all of us that the brand was back. And then finally, in 2016, they dropped the Playmore. They were just SNK again. The king was back on the throne. And this really gets to the heart of how they've changed. You see, the old SNK was all about hardware. They wanted to build the biggest, baddest box and rule the arcade. But the new SNK is way smarter. They realized the real treasure wasn't the machine, it was the characters. Now their business is putting Terry Bogard and Haonaru on every platform you can think of.
And honestly, that brilliant change in strategy is exactly why the SNK legacy isn't just surviving today, it's thriving. I mean, today SNK is a truly global powerhouse. Its ownership has moved from its Japanese roots to international investors. And what that proves is pretty amazing. Characters like Kyo Kusanagi and Mai Shiranui are so iconic, their appeal is universal. It doesn't matter where you're from or how old you are, you know who they are.
So that kind of leaves us with the big question, doesn't it? After everything, the meteoric rise, the crushing fall, and this incredible comeback, what is it about SNK? What's the secret sauce? Is it the perfect pixel art, the tight gameplay, or just that undeniable swagger their characters have? The heart of SNK is still beating strong, and I'd love to know what you think makes it so special. Thanks for exploring this with us.